Hi guys, my name is Trinh and today I'm here to do my June wrap-up. So, the month of June, I read 30 books again. And the thing is, in June, I just didn't expect to read a lot of books, okay? It happened by accident. I read a lot of manga in June because I just fell in love with manga and graphic novels and comic books. So I read a lot of those books in June, so that's why the number is so freaking large. But of course, I have read a lot of novels as well. I feel like this video will be much different from the other wrap-ups that I've done in the past because I'm going to talk about a book that I DNF. So if you don't know, DNF is did not finish. I DNF a book for the very first time, okay? Like, I never ever DNF a book, but I did in June because it was just not my cup of tea. So I'll talk more about that later. So yeah, let's just get started because I have 30 books to talk about, so I'm fucked. Let's talk about this manga series that I read in June. So I read volume 2 to 7. This is called Silver Spoon and the author is Hiromu Arakawa. I think that's how you say her name. I could be wrong. These are actually my boyfriend's books because he is collecting the series right now, so he let me borrow all of them, so thank you so much, Jonathan. Overall, I really enjoy everything, but I don't think I love this as much as I want to. If you don't know, our main character, his name is Hachiken. He goes to this agriculture school and he's like there for the very first time. Meanwhile, everyone there, they have like experience regarding farming because they live in a rural area. I think overall, I will give this series like a 4 out of 5 stars. It's very funny. I enjoy the characters. I do like where the story is going. There are some volumes that are like really amazing, but there are some volumes that are just it's just average, and sometimes it's forgettable. So that's why I don't love the series as much. I feel like the 2 volumes that I have given 5 out of 5 stars are 4 and 6. Oh my god, these were so good. I just had so much fun reading these 2 volumes in particular because they were really good. So yeah, if you really want to read a nice slice of life manga that deals with farming, agriculture, horses, pigs, and just funny characters, then you know, these are really good. I'm so glad that I finally read this in June because I've been wanting to read this book for like the longest time. Not really, for like a few months. But it is The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. So you don't know, this is the final book of the Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black. It follows Jude and Carden and how they hate each other and then they love each other and all these complicated things. This is the final book and honestly, I enjoy it, but it's not my favorite book of the trilogy. The thing that's really weird is that a prophecy is mentioned in this and then it plays like a huge role throughout this entire book, and I don't remember any prophecy in the second book because I feel like if the prophecy is introduced in the second book, The Wicked King, then it makes sense for it to be such a big part in this. But since it was brought up at the beginning of this book, and then of course since this is so short, it feels like everything is wrapped up really quickly, so that's why I didn't love it as much. But still, I love the characters. I love Jude and Carden. I love how things happen in this book for them, you know. I like this, but it's not my favorite, so I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. The very first audiobook that I listened to is Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Renee Adole Lodge. This book was so good, okay? So it's just about anti-black racism in the UK. This is a topic that I don't know much about because of course I live in America. I've been here for like 14 years. Just learning how anti-black racism plays a huge role in the UK and how police brutality exists there too. It's honestly shocking because I just thought that those issues only happen in America, which is ridiculous now that we think about it. But yeah, it happens in a lot of countries and continents. So this book was amazing. It was just so good, to be honest, because I learned so much, and of course I really appreciate the author. I was gonna say the character. Wow. I really appreciate the author just giving us a bunch of examples, telling us how it is, like how white privilege exists and how reverse racism just doesn't exist. Racism against white people, it just doesn't exist because if you think about it, there's of course prejudice against white people, but when it comes to power, white people have it and people of color don't. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was such an important read and I highly recommend this book to everyone. And of course, if you prefer listening to the audiobooks, oh my god, it's amazing because I'm pretty sure it's narrated by the author, so I really like her narration style. So yeah, It was an amazing book. The very first ebook that I read is called The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Junauda Petrus. There are some trigger warnings for this book: homophobia, terminal illness, police brutality, and depression. So we follow two characters in this book. Audrey is from Trinidad and Mabel is from the United States. So Audrey, I believe she is into girls. I don't remember if she is a lesbian or not. I'm so sorry, but I know that she had a girlfriend back in Trinidad and basically she's caught by her mom. Her mom sends her to the United States to live with her dad. She befriends this girl girl named Mabel, and then of course they fall in love and they become a couple. But Mabel, she is struggling with her health because she has cancer. Is that it? Yeah, Mabel have cancer, leukemia-like illness. Unfortunately, I don't love this book, but I still think it's a very important read. The thing that bothers me is that there's so much telling. In addition to that, I feel like there's like a lot of things that are not shown to us. So for example, Audrey and Mabel, they become friends like immediately. I don't know, it was so fast, and a part of me is like, wait a minute, she just got here in America and they're friends already. Like, I know that they knew each other in the past, but it was just so quick. So the friendship happened really quickly, and then eventually they, you know, become a couple. There is one instance that I do want to talk about. Audrey, she is planning a walkout. Is that it? Like a protest, you know? In one chapter, she's like talking to this other character about how they're going to do a walkout in school. The next chapter, she gets home from school and then she's telling her father about the walkout. And I'm sitting here like, what? Like, we don't see it happening. Like, that's my issue with this book, is that there's like a few things where I'm like, wait, this could have been shown to us. I think it's because of the writing style. Like, I know that Jessie from BOOKTUBERS and Books, they talk about the writing style in their GOODREADS review, so I will have it linked down in the description box below. So overall, I'm gonna give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm kind of sad that I don't love this book, but it's okay. It's not for me, but I know that a lot of people really love and enjoy this book. Another ebook that I read is called The Hen Awards by Adiba Jagira. First, let me tell you the trigger warnings: racism, cultural appropriation, homophobia, bullying, and then a character being outed. So our main character, her name is Nishat, and she is a lesbian. In the beginning of this book, she comes out to her parents and they don't take it well. And then when she goes to school, she reunites with this girl named Flavia. Yeah, I think Flavia is bisexual if I remember correctly, but basically Nishat, you know, really likes her. But then they're in this business class. There's like a challenge of how they need to like make a business. Nishat, she wants to do henna business, and then Flavia is like, I want to do henna business as well. It's cultural appropriation. We dive into that topic, and it's just a good book, okay? It's a good queer ass book about these two girls falling in love. Like, yes, that's what I want, okay? First, I love the characters. I love that Nishat is such a flawed character because she can be pretty selfish, but at the same time, I do understand where she comes from. Her sister is the best. Her name is Pretty, like P-R-I-T-I. She's the best. I love these two sisters so much. I love this relationship between Nishat and Pretty. And then of course, Flavia, I really appreciate her character as well, even though there's like a few times where she pissed me off, but at the same time, I like that later in the book she does apologize for cultural appropriations. I guess like the one thing that kind of bothers me is that we have this one character, she's like a side character, and she basically outs the main character for being a lesbian, and it's horrible because no one deserves to be outed like that. But then also, I feel like towards the end of this book, someone basically just trashed Nishat's stall because like she was doing her henna business, and someone just literally ruined the entire thing, and we don't know who it is. So I don't like the fact that the people who do bad things to the main character, they're not being held accountable for these things. That really bothers me because this is not okay. Like, we need to find out who it is and we need to hold them accountable. But overall, I just really enjoyed this book. It's so cute and so amazing, and I love reading stories about two girls falling in love. So I give this book a 4 out of 5 stars. And now I'm going to talk about this book. I DNF'd this, and it is, check please, book 2, Sticks and Scones by Ngozi Ukazu. I read book 1 towards the end of 2019 and I enjoy it. I didn't love it because it's just like about hockey, and I'm not a big fan of the sport, and then also I don't know shit about hockey. In this book, it's just about hockey, and it got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to read this anymore. So I DNF'd this book 55% into it because I was just skimming, okay? I was just looking at the pictures. I just did not care about the characters and what's going on in their lives. A lot of people love the books. I'm not one of them, and it's a shame because if I was a sports person, then I'm sure I enjoy this book, but I'm not a sports person. I don't care about hockey. I don't know anything about hockey, and I don't really care about the characters to the point where I want to finish the book. So I did skip to the end just to see what happened, and it's like, okay, cool. I don't have a rating, but I just want to talk about this book briefly in this video. So yeah, I'm sure the book is amazing, and I've said this before, if you love hockey, I think you will enjoy this duology way more than me. Like I've said, I am really into manga, so I started this series. It's called Watakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku, and this is volume 1, and the author is Fujita. I said that weird, but anyway, I watched the anime on Amazon Prime. It's like an adaptation of the manga, and oh my god, it was so cute. The anime was amazing. So of course, after I finished the only season that they have, I was like, I need to read the manga because I'm pretty sure there's more content in the manga. I read volume 1, but basically this is the first 2 volumes of the Japanese edition, so they just put them together. It was just okay, but let me tell you what it is before I forget. This manga series follows 4 main characters, but I feel like the 2 main characters are these 2 right here. So this is Hirotaka and Narumi, and basically they were childhood best friends, but eventually they kind of went their separate ways. But now that they're adults, they work for the same company, and on her first day of work they reunite and then they just start dating. It was like in a very funny way, but it was kind of rushed, I will say. So the thing is, these 4 main characters, they're basically like grown-ups, but they're nerds. It's really cute, it's really funny, and I would say that I prefer the anime a little bit more because I just love the voice actors, I love the animation, the music and everything. The manga, let me talk about this real quick. Hirotaka, he has always like loved Narumi, but just seeing how he declares that he loves her was wild to me. Like right at the beginning, I kid you not, it's like right here, page 15, no, yeah, 16. He says he loves her, and I was so confused because in the anime he says that he likes her. To me that makes sense. Liking each other is not as intense as loving each other, so that's why I was like, hold up, he just says he loves her. What is this? This is really hard for me to describe, but the way it's being told is so episodic. When it comes to the anime, it makes sense, but when it comes to this, we have like episode 1, episode 2. I don't know, sometimes it just doesn't flow as nicely as I want it to be, but yeah, it's just hard to describe it. I really thought that I was going to enjoy the first volume like a lot, but at the end I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars because it was okay. I prefer the anime more, but I know for a fact that if I want more content, I need to continue with the manga series because I haven't heard shit about season 2. I will continue with the series, don't you worry, but I'm going to take my time, and I'm not really in a rush to like read all of the volumes in the manga. That's what I have to say about this. So I also started another comic book series. This one is called Fence, so I'm going to be talking about Fence volume 1, 2, and 3. The authors are C.S. Paquette, Joanna the Mad, and Joanna Lafuente. This series is all about fencing. I had so much fun reading the comic book series, well, the first 3 volumes because I found this online, but yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed the characters. I love the art style. Oh my god, it was really amazing. I believe this is a queer comic book series because I can definitely tell some tension between our main character and the guy Seiji. For the first volume, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. For volume 2 and 3, I gave them 4 out of 5 stars. The thing with this comic book series is that each volume is so short. I hate that they're short because I always want more, but anyway, I really enjoy the characters. I really enjoy where the story is going because now that I have finished volume 3, we get to like the serious part, like the competition between these 2 schools, so that's very exciting. And yeah, I really enjoy the characters and everything, so I cannot wait to continue with the series. The next book that I read is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I am so excited that we have a new book from Elizabeth Acevedo because she is one of my favorite authors of all time. There are some trigger warnings for this book: death of a parent, stalking, and sexual assault. This book is about these 2 sisters and how they share the same father. However, they don't know each other because we have one sister, her name is Camino. She lives in the Dominican Republic. We have Yahaira, who lives in Brooklyn. So yeah, they don't know each other at all. In the beginning of this book, the father, when he flies back to the Dominican Republic, the plane crashes and he dies. So yeah, both girls are devastated because their father dies, but not just that, they're really shocked to find out that they have a sister. It deals with a lot of topics because both girls are actually sexually assaulted, and then Camino is stalked by this guy. It's really creepy. You don't understand. I was so scared for her because whenever she goes to the beach to swim, the guy would just stand there and looks at her, like he would just stares at her. It was so creepy and I hate that so much. So a huge trigger warning for that. This book is fucking sad, guys. This book is so sad because of course the father passed away in the beginning, but not just that, this situation is so complicated because now both girls think poorly of their father because he has like 2 families, but he keeps them separated. As for the characters, I really enjoy both characters. Yahaira, I believe she's a lesbian. She has a girlfriend in Brooklyn and I love the representation. Of course, I also feel so bad for Camino because she is going through a lot in the Dominican Republic. The writing style is amazing. This story is just so important, and I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Please read this book, it's so good. The next ebook that I read is called Felix Ever After by Kaysen Calendar. There are some trigger warnings for this book: transphobia, bullying, and outing someone. This book follows a main character named Felix, and he is Black, queer, and transgender. Basically, someone is trolling the main character Felix because they're so transphobic. It pushes our main character Felix to basically have revenge for this mean boy. There's a lot going on in this book, but just so you know, this book is amazing, and I feel like it's a required reading. I love the characters so much. I love the main character Felix, and I like the fact that he grows so much in this book. Not just that, his friends are amazing as well. Ezra and Leah are my favorite because they care for the main character, and also I like the fact that this book feels real regarding teenage lives and what they're going through. Everyone is in this art school, so like they're into art and they're very talented. I really like seeing New York when things are going well, you know, as in like when COVID is not happening, because like everyone is just going outside and having fun. Pop culture was great. Okay, the fact that they mentioned Zuko from Avatar: Last Airbender, like thank you for mentioning Zuko. And also they mentioned Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Thank you. Again, thank you so much for mentioning those two amazing TV shows. And also in the Hen Awards, I mentioned that the people who do bad things to the main character, they're not being held accountable. I freaking appreciate the fact that we actually learned who was trolling our main character. This person was sending so many transphobic messages to our main character. Like, you don't understand. It was so upsetting. And I like the fact that this person is being held accountable. That part was really great. And overall, I love this book so much. I really want my own copy because I read this on Libby. So yeah, I wanted my own copy immediately. I love it so much. It's one of the best books I have read this year, and it's also one of my favorite books of all time now. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. It is so good. So yeah, please read it. Guys, I have found another favorite book of all time. It's called The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. It's a romance novel with 2 main Vietnamese characters. Yes. And of course, almost all of the side characters are Vietnamese. So thank you Helen Hoang for writing this book because I love it so much. So our main character, his name is Kai. He has autism and he never really dates girls. He's in his mid-20s and his mother really wants grandchildren and she really wants her son to like marry someone. So she goes back to Vietnam and then she's like trying to find someone who's like the perfect person for her son. She meets our other main character named Esme. Her name is May, but she changed it to Esme when she comes to the United States. She is given this amazing opportunity to come to the United States and just live with Kai and just trying to like win him over. I love this book so much. Oh my god, I'm just so happy to have like an adult romance book with a shitload of Vietnamese characters. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, that's what I want, because when it comes to books written by Vietnamese authors, they're usually about the Vietnam War, and the thing is, I'm perfectly fine with that. I have read plenty of books about the Vietnam War, but sometimes I just want a cute, light-hearted book with characters who look like me, and I have it with this. Okay, so it means so much to me because the representation was amazing. I love the characters as well. I love Kai, I love Esme. I laughed so much reading this book. It was just so funny. Chapter 17 is the funniest chapter I have ever read in my entire life. And also I love seeing Esme grow as a person. When she was in Vietnam, she dropped out of high school to get a job to support her family, and then eventually she just doesn't have an opportunity to just pursue education. So when she's in the United States, she goes to school and then she's trying to get into college. There's a lot of discussions regarding opportunities because a lot of times people are not giving certain opportunities to get a better education. I just appreciate that so much because it's so true. I've seen it plenty of times. I feel like one bad thing, like badish thing, is that things are a little bit repetitive regarding this trouble between like our 2 main characters. Kai believes that he cannot love anyone. Meanwhile, Esme really wants Kai. When she's just thinking about this, it tends to be repetitive, but still I love this book so much. So I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. It means so much to me because I finally found a book where I feel really represented. Another audiobook that I listened to is called White Rage: The Unspoken Truth of Our Racial Divide by Carol Anderson. This book is nonfiction and of course is about racism in America. It sucks really badly. So yeah, this book talks about slavery and how Black people were mistreated in the past. We also talk about segregation and how it's really hard for Black people to vote and to get a really good education. And based on the title White Rage, turns out white rage happens because of Black advancement. Think about that. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait to listen to more audiobooks regarding racism, anti-racism. The next ebook that I read is called Lyft. So this is by Min Lei and Dan Santat. So the thing is, this is a children's book. I read this on Libby because it was available to borrow, and I saw that the author is Vietnamese, so of course I really want to give it a try. It was just like okay. So it's about this girl who has a thing for elevator buttons. Like, she really likes to press that button, you know. I feel like it makes sense because when you're young and if you have siblings, there's always this battle to press the elevator button. So anyway, that's what this book is about. It's cute for children, but like when I read it, I was just like, oh, okay, like that's it. I give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. It was just okay. The next book is called The Falling in Love Montage by Sierra Smith. There is a trigger warning for this book, and it is dementia. This takes place in Ireland, which is really cool. I did not know that before I read this book, so yeah, it's really cool that this takes place in a different continent, a different country. It's about a main character named Saoirse and how she is going through a lot regarding like her mother, her family life, and her social life. Her mother has dementia, and her parents are divorced because her mom does not want to be a burden for her husband. They're divorced, and then her father is going to marry someone, and she's not taking it well because she views this as cheating. Like, he is abandoning his first wife. But not just that, her ex-girlfriend broke up with her, and she's just dealing with that. And then she meets a girl named Ruby. She does not want to get into a relationship because she is scared of getting hurt. But not just that, when it comes to dementia, is a thing that can happen to her. It runs in the family. So her grandmother had it, her mom had it, and she might have it. Like, there's a really good chance that she will have dementia. She just thinks to herself, like, there's no point of getting into a serious relationship, going to college, when there's a good chance that she will have dementia and forget everything. This book is so sad. You don't understand. For a really cute title and cute book cover, I just didn't expect this book to fucking make me cry. Whenever we see her mom or talk about dementia, I just cry so much because it's so freaking sad. But anyway, besides like the sad things that happen in this book, it's also really cute and heartwarming and very important because it kind of shows that queer people deserves love, deserves a lot of representation regarding media. So the Falling in Love montage is basically Ruby and Saoirse just picking out the tropes that happen in rom-coms, and then they apply it to their own lives. But in a way, they're not trying to get into a serious relationship because Saoirse does not want to be in a serious relationship. Yeah, it's very sad, but also it's very cute. I love the characters. Our main character feels so real regarding her pettiness, how she's, you know, very judgmental, selfish as well. Honestly, I really understand why she is the way she is in this book because she's not a perfect character. She's very flawed, and she holds this big grudge against her father for like abandoning his first wife. Her relationship with her father is so complicated, but this book was great. Honestly, I really adore this book. I adore the characters. Oliver is a really great side character. He's very funny. But not just that, this book deals with a lot of important topics regarding dementia. Like, it's really scary, and like I've said before, our main character, she does not see the point of going to a really nice college and just spending so much money on education because there's a good chance she will have dementia and forget everything. That is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Okay, so I cry a lot in this book. At the end of the day, I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars because I genuinely adore this book, and I'm so glad I read this in June. And now another manga series that I started in June and loved so much is Beastars, and the author is Paru Itagaki. This is my boyfriend's book. He let me borrow volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have read all 5 volumes within like a week, I think. I'm pretty sure. This manga series is about the herbivores and carnivores living in this world. So in the very first book, an alpaca, which is an herbivore, gets killed. It looks really bad because now there is this really big division between the carnivores and the herbivores. Our main character, his name is Legoshi, and basically he falls in love with this rabbit. This is what she looks like. Her name is Haru. This was so good. Okay, let's quickly talk about these 2 volumes right here. Volume 1 and 2, I give them both 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoy them, but I didn't love them, but I still appreciate them nonetheless because they really introduced me to the characters and to the problem that we're going to have. Volume 3, 4, 5, wow, amazing. I gave these 3 volumes 5 out of 5 stars because I just love them so much. I think my favorite is probably this one because this was so intense. There's a lot of killing in this. It's very violent. I just really appreciate this series because it's just so fun. It's really funny. I like the characters, and of course I like how realistic it is even though the characters are animals. Thank you, Jonathan, for encouraging me to read the manga series because I really appreciate this so much. The last ebook that I read in June is called Soe by Lupita Nyong'o and Vashti Harrison. This is actually a children's book and it's about a young girl named Soe and how she has really dark skin, and of course she doesn't really love herself because of her skin color, and then she goes on this journey and then eventually she loves her dark skin. The art is literally gorgeous. Every time I turn a page I had to stop and just examine everything because it was just beautiful. So yeah, I really enjoyed this story. I think it's very important for a lot of dark skinned people. I give this a 4 to 5 stars and I honestly recommend this book to everyone. The last comic book series that I have to talk about in this video is The Legend of Korra Ruins of the Empire Part 1, 2, and 3. I read all 3 parts within like a couple of hours and honestly I enjoyed this so much more than I thought. If you have watched season 4 of The Legend of Korra, you need to read this comic book series. It's like a trilogy. There are only 3 parts. It's so important because Kuvira is in this, and of course if you know, Kuvira is a very important character in the 4th season of the show. My favorite part is probably part 2. I gave this a 5 to 5 stars. I love this so much. We get to see a lot of old characters, like for example Toph, and then of course we get a lot of information regarding the bad guys, so I really enjoyed part 2. Part 3 I also really like. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Nowadays I try not to have a high expectation, but I'm so glad that I enjoy everything. So yeah, this was amazing. If you love The Legend of Korra, please read Ruins of the Empire. The very last book that I have to talk about is called Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I read this book with my peripatetized Sandy, so yeah, we read this book together and oh my god, it took us 2 weeks to finish this book. This novel follows Laszlo Strange. He is like obsessed with this city called Weep. Out of nowhere, Errolfane, the guy, just comes in and was like, we need people to help us. We need scholars. Laszlo goes with him and then he is so happy that he finally gets an opportunity to go to the city Weep. And then of course we learn about Sarai. She is one of the children who survived the carnage. So that's like a huge massacre, and yeah, she and her friends survive. Everyone thinks that they are dead because they're not supposed to be alive at all. So yeah, we learn about those people as well. So they have like blue skin and they have weird abilities. I want to love this book. I really wanted to love this book because based on the hype, I was just like, wow, that sounds amazing. But the thing is, I knew that this book was slow. I just didn't realize how slow it was. I was literally so bored for like a good chunk of this book because it was so slow. Still at the end, I really enjoy everything. I really like the characters. I love Laszlo and Sarai together. The world building is also very interesting, but I feel like because I was so bored and distracted by other things in my life, I didn't really pay attention to like the specific details. I enjoyed this book. I give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I cannot wait to read the final book because I do want to know what happened. Like that ending, I definitely want to read the second book. So yeah, I'm planning to read Muse of Nightmares sometime in 2020. So those are all of the books that I read in June. I am so tired. Oh my god, I've been filming for hours. I am very excited for July because there are 2 readathons happening, the Koreadathon and the Reading Rush. Those are the 2 readathons that I am participating. So I will have my TBR video linked down in the description box below, but then also in the cards. I think that's basically it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe for more videos and I will see you guys later. You can hear my dog, okay? Sorry. Bye! Oh my god, this video is a mess. Like my closet door was open. Holy shit. Bye. Sorry.